Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. It is Friday, June 28th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, the geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer, the rambler, whatever you want to call him, he is the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great to see you on this fine Friday morning. Sweet victory. And holy crap, what a live stream last night if you were with us. Hundreds and hundreds of Patriots joining us for the debate last night. And for today's episode, we have not only the debate highlights for you, but we have a massive media meltdown like I've never seen before. You guys, we might have 50-something clips today. We got endless clips. So we're going to see how long this show goes on for. We're not going to have any limit on this bad boy because, dude, I'm a one-man show. We can't keep track of how many clips we got for y'all today. We're prepared. We're ready to go. Double buckle up, folks. Well, let's jump into the news. If you notice, I cut the intro a little bit short today because, damn, what a performance by Donald Trump and lack thereof from Joe Biden. You guys, Joe Biden just needed to not get confused, stand there for 90 minutes and somewhat look sharp, and the dude was gone within the first 8 to 10 minutes. So, let's get to let's get to what the media is saying right now. Democrats go into full-blown panic mode after Biden debate performance. During the debate itself, hey, thank you, Danielle. Really appreciate you joining the Bald Brad Army. Thank you so much. That debate performance led to them talking instantly, right after the debate, about swapping Joe Biden out. I mean, we couldn't have more of a knockout punch from Donald Trump that would have led to them talking immediately about getting rid of Joe. During the debate itself, Joe Biden's own people were saying, hey, he has a cold. He's not feeling well. And that's what that was their go-to because they had no way to explain what the hell just happened. So the New York Post is leading with this. Look at this. This was last night, right after the debate. Just sad. President mumbles, stumbles, freezes in train wreck debate versus Donald Trump. But remember, you guys, cheap fakes. Everything we've been saying for 3 years, remember how that was all conspiracy theory. The president's sharp. He's with it. The stamina's there. We were told we were liars for 3 years. And what's great about this, it just all happened last week. In the sense of that culmination of 3.5 years of work here we've done on the show and other conservatives and patriot outlets really came to like a head where they came and said, you know, with the parachute, when Joe Biden was in France, the paragliders coming down, or wherever the hell they are, the paratroopers, when he was wandering off, looking like a doddering old fool, confused, oh, it's cheap fakes. It's not real. The president's not mumbling. You guys are sitting there cutting this stuff and editing it. Well, did we edit anything last night? Because we went live for like 3.5 hours yesterday, didn't cut a damn thing up, and Joe Biden did not look good. I don't know how they're going to spin it. I'm waiting to see how they're going to spin it, because the media does not have Joe Biden's back this time. This is what it looks like today, you guys. The New York Times, Biden struggles. ABC News, Biden falters in high-stakes debate. Politico, Democrats really have no way to spin this. The Washington Post, Biden struggles. CBS, Biden struggles early in presidential debate. Not just early, I mean, that one's doing him a favor. He was falling off at the end. The dude was dripping into a drip tray in his freaking ending closing statement. USA Today, debate reinforces concerns about the president's age, future. Reinforces, we've been saying this the entire time. NBC, some Democrats call for Biden to step down. Oh my gosh. And throw in the towel. What a headline from NBC. To throw in the towel. Dude, Donald Trump messed this guy up so bad that not only is the media waving a white flag, the Democrat Party has one in each hand going, please end this. Throwing in towels in the ring. Oh my God. Fox News, Dems concerned as sharp attacks from Trump put raspy Biden on the ropes during high-stakes debate. The LA Times, Biden stumbles amid fierce attacks from Trump. The Wall Street Journal, Democrats discuss replacing Biden on the presidential ticket. That's how insane everything was last night. If you weren't with us, we wish you could have joined us, because damn, what a night it was. You guys had a blast. Like I said, we were here for like 3.5 hours, just hanging out, having a good old time. CNN, here we go. Biden's debate performance sets off alarm bells for Democrats. Why? The dude's been gone for 3.5 years. You guys freaking voted him in office. We've been saying this for what, since 2020? 2019, really. Associated Press, Biden had a bad night. That's a nice way of putting it. Had a bad night. So here's the thing. You have Biden babbling and hoarse. Biden's debate performance sends Democrats into panic. NBC News. So this gives you like a little bit of like an idea, if you didn't watch the debate, what it sounded like and what it looked like. Media declares campaign dead after debate. Some Democrats want Biden to step down. The panic from the left-wing CNN pundits matched the network's own polling. 67% of respondents said Trump won the debate compared to 33%. Let that sink in. 33% of people still think Joe Biden beat Trump during that debate. It should speak volumes to you guys that there's just a large swath of this country that you could actually have Joe Biden on stage on a gurney and somebody moving his mouth and speaking for him, and they would still think that Joe Biden did better than Donald Trump. You have to be so far gone like Joe Biden to actually think that Joey won that debate. Hey, you know what? Maybe his base is just like him, far gone, not with us, in another universe. So let's get to some debate highlights if you missed it. This first one was President Trump talking about Crooked Joe opening the borders and drugs pouring in, not to mention human trafficking taking off.
But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
Correct. And Trump did a phenomenal job of consistently bringing the debate back to immigration. He did a phenomenal job of not attacking Joe Biden's cognition problems or Joe Biden's age. Trump didn't really insult Joe Biden all that much. I mean, this was not a 2016, 2020 Trump. This is a Trump in 2024 that I don't know if he thinks he's going to win or he thinks he has a possibility of losing, but Trump was composed. He was calm. He kept bringing everything back to the failures of the Biden administration. Trump did a fabulous job last night, and he calls out the fact that Biden wants to end his tax cuts, which is going to lead to all of us, if those cuts are gone, about a couple $1,000s more every single year now.
Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
Oh, yeah. Easily. And I love that Trump kept saying that throughout the night. He's the worst president in American history because it's sound bites, you guys. It's sound bites and quotes, and that's what people are going to take from this, is that look at this doddering old fool. It's hard to watch. It's cringy to see Joe Biden fumbling through his words, getting lost at times, not knowing what the hell's going on. And a lot of people think that the guy was souped up. This is what Joe Biden looked like last night, you guys. No, this is what Joey looked like all last night. And we kind of called out the fact of why is he never blinking? I mean, he did blink. I'm not trying to create a conspiracy theory here, but This is what Joe Biden looked like all last night.
More be able to detect drugs. More be able to detect drugs.
It's a weird look. I mean, that is somebody that is on something. He's on a cocktail of something big time. And so Biden defends his noticeable cognitive impairment by noting he's a 50-year-old career politician.
President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. The whole idea.
President Biden, you would be.
God, man. Rumbling, can't understand him, incoherent at times. And this was a bombshell that Trump dropped last night. I mean, this was one that you stun the guy. You know what I mean? You just give him the nice uppercut to the jaw and you stun him to where he don't know what to say. And neither does anybody from the Democrat Party. So Trump's asking Joe Biden here, amidst all the failures that have been going on in the Biden administration, and a question that we proposed many of times here on the show, and it's kind of Trump's catchphrase, who's been fired over any of the debacles that have gone on for the last 3.5 years? We always say here in the show, and you guys have the receipts, meaning our video catalog to prove it, hey, why is it that every time when Democrats suck, they get promoted, they get elevated to the highest levels of office, but nobody ever gets fired? Trump fires people. You're fired, you son of a bitch. You're gone. Get the hell out of my office. You're ruining everything. Get out. And Joe Biden's like, you're great. I love you. Oh, let me sniff you. You're awesome. Joe Biden hasn't fired anybody, and Donald Trump calls him out here.
Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Did you fire anybody?
Notice, he hasn't. Who has Joe Biden fired? Nobody. He can't even fire his own White House press secretary. I can't wait till next week. I don't even know if she's going to come out next week. How does she spin this? How does she sit there and dodge this? Because normally she likes to go to the media. Oh, well, we have this person that said this, or this is what the polls say. You don't have the media. You don't have the polls. You don't have anything. We have the clips. What are you going to say, that we took it out of context when we have the entire debate now? Like, what, that we cut it up to show the weak moments? So Biden claims he didn't raise taxes on Americans less than $400 a year. By the way, that was a total lie. Biden did raise taxes on Americans earning as little as $20K a year, and he raised them a hell of a lot more in his second term, or he's going to.
I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't.
Oh my God. It gets brutal. It gets brutal. So crooked Joe Biden blamed inflation for his massive drop in support among Black Americans. President Trump says he caused inflation, not like Trump caused it, but Biden caused inflation and killing Black families, Hispanic families, and just about everybody. So we got a lot of clips here, you guys. Again, this was almost a 2-hour debate. We got a lot of stuff, and we're trying to give you small clips here, basically the highlights of what took place last night. And Donald Trump was right here. It's not just Black families. It's freaking everybody's having a tough time. I don't know why we're so focused on the Black community. We should be just focused on Americans, because race has nothing to do with anything. But a typical talking point of the Democrat Party in politics to just kind of hyper-focus on one specific race and ethnicity. Guys, we're all Americans. Race doesn't matter about anything. We're all suffering. We're all hurting right now, and Donald Trump sees it. Oh, we're getting the spin. We're getting the spin. Let's get that reloaded up for y'all. And again, I really don't know why it's such a talking point to sit there and say, well, this community's not doing great. This community's suffering. This community's having a bad problem. But everybody's suffering from crime to immigration pouring in. I mean, there is stuff that's just happening left and right. And let's see if we can find this for you again. Now I'm lost in my shuffle. We're almost there. Here we go.
He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Man, Trump just looked really good last night, you guys. And this is a side that nobody's talking about whatsoever. Empathy. Usually, empathy in politics is harmful because it could lead to a disparity of an outcome from whatever policy that you're implementing based on that empathy. So we tend to say empathy in politics is harmful. Donald Trump had empathy last night, and that empathy was performed in such a way that we tend not to see from Donald Trump, right? Because normally Donald Trump's insulting people. He's saying certain things that's like, whoa, okay, hey, man, let's let off the gas a little bit. But he sat there and he turned it. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford gas. Joe Biden's the cause of this. If you put this guy back in office, you're going to basically shoot yourself in the foot. Is that something you want to do? I want to help you. Joe Biden's policies are killing you guys. I want to take care of you. We got to make America great again. The messaging was so on point last night from Donald Trump. Wild that Joe Biden sat there and basically had nothing to say. Donald Trump's not a career politician. Remember, Joe Biden prepared for a week minimum with 16 advisors to have this type of performance. So you have Donald Trump saying, I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like Joe Biden. He lies, correct?
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things, too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. So I've dealt.
Speaking of that, if you recall during the debate, Biden was bringing up the whole Charlottesville thing that was debunked. I mean, there was a famous article that we covered last week from Snopes where they came out and said, 7 years later, the whole thing about Charlottesville, that there was good people on either side or some bullshit story like that. Well, that's fake. We called that out 7 years ago. And the media just coming out and Joe Biden's still trying to utilize it. So he's spreading lies. I inherited high inflation. No, you didn't. Inflation was 1.4% on average, regardless of ever who the president is. We expect to see inflation between 1 and 3%. Usually it's 1 to 2 is the ballpark that we do see. And that's exactly what Joe Biden inherited. Between 1 to 2%, 1.4. Joe, it went up to 9.1%, a 40-year high. We've never seen it, at least in my lifetime, because I'm 35. This is wild stuff. And Biden says millions of illegal aliens he has ferried into the country is the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. Really, Joe?
Illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. Illegal aliens are coming into the country and
dude admits that illegal aliens are coming into the country, but that's why we have the most successful economy in the world. It's unbelievable. I'm going through these clips, you guys. We got a lot of clips here. I love this clip by Trump where he talks about Biden's border invasion and Social Security, Medicare in our country.
I'll give you an example. I heard him say before, insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. I'll give you an example. I heard.
It's correct. Absolutely correct. And if you notice with a lot of what Trump was saying last night, Joe Biden didn't really have a lot of rebuttals of saying, well, why is that a lie? What am I doing that's actually making things better? He hasn't done any of that. What he said a lot of the times was basically emphasizing what I'm going to do in my next 4 years. What am I going to do if you reelect me? Bro, what have you done, in the 4 years that you've been president? That's been echoed by Kamala Harris, by the way, of, well, we just need more time to solve this. Or Karine Jean-Pierre's messaging, well, you just need another 4 years to really feel the impacts of our policy, like the Inflation Reduction Act or the American Opportunity or whatever that was called, the American Rescue Plan. Like, you just need another 4 years, you guys, to really feel the impacts of Joe Biden. No, we don't. We already feel it. We already see our grocery prices gone up. We feel it at the gas pump every single week when we go to fill up our cars, Joe. We don't need another 4 years of you. And so Biden is confused consistently throughout this debate. And he says the existential threat to humanity is climate change. Climate change, not China, not Russia, not nuclear warfare, World War III, climate change.
He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change.
Unbelievable. And I wish Trump would have emphasized the fact of when he pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, that we were still decreasing our emissions, that we were still better than any country that was really a part of that. When I'm speaking of that, is more like China and India and stuff. But Joe Biden puts us back because they want to cripple our economy. Case in point, that's exactly what's going on. And I wish, do you notice that gas prices didn't get brought up? A lot of people are ranting and raving about how great the CNN moderators were. I don't think they were that great. I said that last night, and I had time to reflect on it. I really don't think they were that great. For CNN standards, sure, they were great. They didn't hound anything that you and all, I feel. They start off with inflation, but hey, Joe, how come energy prices are through the roof? Why are you buying so much oil from other countries? Is there any plan to sit there and invest into domestic oil production? Because that's a negative, but let's talk about Trump's trial. Let's talk about him being a felon. Let's talk about him and January 6th. Let's talk about Charlottesville and trying to correlate him being a racist. Nothing negative was really brought to Joe Biden's attention. Hey, Joe, what's going on with your son? What's going on with your family? What's going on with the business dealings? Are you the big guy? So all the stuff from Republican outlets, like I watched a lot of commentary last night. I stayed up pretty late. Nobody's talking about that. We're like the only show that's going, they weren't that great, the moderators. Like I was talking about it last time on the show that if you look at the way the questions were proposed, they do this a lot in polling when they're trying to run the numbers, more of a statistical side of things. The question itself was already inherently biased by implanting in the mind of the listener or reader, however you want to look at it, that there's already going to be a negative consequence to the person that's being spoken about in the question, followed up by a reinforcement by an answer about the thing that you already had implanted in your mind that was negative about the person that they're speaking of, meaning Donald Trump. I mean, I can't believe that nobody's talking about that other than us. We'll see today if anybody calls that out, but as far as I'm aware, we're the only ones here, at least outlets talking about it, outlets. So Biden has a very tough time explaining why he's basically hemorrhaging support among black people. Holy lordy.
What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice.
What do you say to black voters?
A lot of you were talking about how he had an earpiece in last night. Maybe he did. I don't have any proof of that. Maybe he did. But there was times where he was getting lost and he was looking down. People were showing videos of him kind of speaking kind of offhand when there was nothing going on. Like Donald Trump was speaking and he was kind of like counting or doing something weird. I don't know if that's a cognition kind of strategy to keep him on point of saying, hey man, if you're getting lost, you feel like you're getting confused, just start counting. Just start rambling some stuff, thinking about things through your mind to keep you on point. Not sure. But Biden says he ran for office after his son died in Iraq. Folks, Bo did not die in Iraq. He keeps saying this lie.
What got me involved to run the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq. What got me involved to run the first place after my son had died.
Which is remarkable because Joe Biden was like, oh, this guy's a liar. This guy's this or that. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that we're seeing from Joe Biden, not just from a cognition level, but just sheer lie after lie. Oh, I'm not going to sit there and raise your taxes. He's manipulating the American people. If he doesn't change, and I don't know how they're going to do this because part of Trump's tax cuts, I believe, was changing the brackets themselves because you were going to save about a 3% in terms of owing money to the government. Like you're going to save 3%. So when those are gone, you're going to owe about 3%. And when you do the math, once you remove the deductions, the credits that they're getting rid of, you're going to owe, I'd say anywhere from 500 to at least a couple thousand under Joe Biden. So he doesn't have to shift the percentage. He just has to remove the incentives that they're giving you through whatever the IRS and the Congress is allowing. So he's trying to manipulate, going, well, I'm not going to raise your taxes. We're not going to increase the brackets. So he's technically telling the truth. But behind the scenes, he's manipulating you because, let's be fair, a lot of people don't know about taxes. It's confusing. There's a lot of bull crap that's involved in it. And he's sitting there trying to manipulate all of you. So Biden said, the idea that I did anything wrong is outrageous. Reminder, Crooked Joe and his family have taken millions from foreign countries. We kept bringing that up last night. Romania, Russia, Ukraine. And he literally got rich off the backs of Americans.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie. The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's
what a weird statement. Relative to what you're saying. The only reason that you would really throw that in is that means that you could be doing something wrong that isn't relative to that specific statement. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you throw the word relative in there? Maybe Joe Biden had a small opportunity of being actually coherent a little bit here. Crooked Joe, did your earpiece fall out? A lot of people keep referencing this. I must have just missed it.
Filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10th entry.
And what's interesting here is I don't know if he's looking at a monitor. Did you guys notice last night he kept looking down? When somebody's talking in your ear, you tend to not look like you're engaged. You kind of just will look down or you're listening to them. You're trying to focus because if there's something in front of you, it distracts you and you're trying to listen in. So very well could have had an earpiece. I'm not going to push it just because I'm not sure, but you guys seem to be talking about that a lot last night. Let me know what you think of the live chat. I see y'all in the live chat. I see Pat, I see Wasteland, Danielle, great sister here, Patriot that just joined us, Miriam, Snarf, Devil, Pat, Neil. I see you all in there. So just wild stuff. I'm trying to find I got so many clips, you guys. Yeah, this one last night. Crooked Joe claims there are 1,000 trillionaires in America.
Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
Yikes. Yikes. Now, a debate strategy and just a speaking strategy, and this is something I even have to remind myself when we're doing live shows or I'm recording something. I tend to talk very, very fast, just naturally. I don't know if that comes across in the show, but that's just how I talk sometimes. And one of the things you do, it's kind of an acting thing, is you slow down your speech so that you don't mess up. Things come across a lot clearer. You're a lot more calm. You can think about the things that you're about to say, so you don't say that there's 1,000 trillionaires, all those things. So 1,000 trillionaires. Jeez, Louise, this guy. So his brain completely shut down. And this was hard to watch. There was moments that were actually just cringeworthy. And there were times early on where I thought to myself, I didn't disclose this to any of you guys, can I continue to watch this? Early on, Joe really lost himself. About 13 minutes in, this was also echoed by Jesse Waters and the analyst in the panel after the debate. And I sat there going, we're only 13 minutes in, and this guy has completely lost it. I don't know if I could continue to watch it. It was that cringy. So here he is saying that he shut down Medicare. Or he beat Medicare somehow. This doesn't make sense. Here we go.
Healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, healthcare system, making sure that we're able to.
Dude, is that not cringy? That is so cringy. And you know what? Trump didn't say anything other than him taking a cognitive test. Trump talked about him taking a cognitive test. Dude, can we watch this? This is a highlight from last night. I mean, this is going viral, this clip. I'm just going to play it again because, dude, this says everything you need to know. And we were told that we were conspiracy theorists. We were told that this is fake news. This is a cheap fake, you guys, according to Cringeworthy up here in the White House and Democrat Party. Let's play it again.
Healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, healthcare system.
God, man, and good on Trump. It makes Trump look bad, and this is something that a lot of people were talking about. In the sense of, oh, well, Trump should have said something. Trump should point out the fact that Joe Biden is losing his marbles, that he's off his rocker. He's not with us. He's in another solar system. No. Trump let us decide that as the viewer. We can see it. We're not idiots. And by sitting there calling it out, we know, and it just kind of looks like you're beating up on an old guy. You know what I mean? It looks like you're trying to just really punch down onto Joe Biden. Good on Trump for not saying anything about Joe Biden being off his rocker, that he's gone, he's not with us. Now, Trump had a lot of great moments last night. And that's why we're showing a lot of Donald Trump in his highlights, because the guy looked good. I mean, blew me out of the water. So he talked about Crooked Joe's botched Afghanistan withdrawal, and it was one of the most embarrassing moments in American history. Mr. President, this might take the cake, this debate with Joe Biden. Can you imagine if you're a foreign country, an adversary, an enemy, China, Russia? Why would you, Iran? Why would you not go do something right now after seeing who's in the Oval Office? 100 million Americans saw this last night. 100 million Americans. You want to know what? The entire globe saw this last night. We had people from United Kingdom in here. We had people from Australia in here. We had people, our allied countries, watching the stream with us, not to mention everybody else's stream. Dude, we look weak. We're in a scary moment in our country right now. The fact that this guy, Joe Biden, is pulling the strings. If you're China and you don't go into Taiwan right now, you're out of your, there's no greater moment. I'm not advocating for that. I don't want that to happen, but I'm just saying, based on this guy's performance here, Joe Biden, and what he looks like, and that's the guy running the show.
I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded.
Yep. Remember, you had these terrorist proxies going after our merchant vessels, roughly around the Red Sea and other areas. But either way, they're going after our merchant vessels over 100 times. Joe Biden did nothing. The Afghanistan pullout was terrible. I mean, what hasn't been terrible? And it was amazing because this guy tried to spin things. And what was remarkable, you guys, he would brag about things like Afghanistan and immigration. He was bragging about Afghanistan and immigration. Here's him doing so, bragging about Afghanistan withdrawal.
Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan.
Dude, the spinning that this guy tried to do was truly a remarkable thing. And he actually denied that there was terrorists among the millions of illegal immigrants that have poured into this country. As if we don't have the receipts. As if we didn't show the numbers yesterday morning before the debate show. I can't believe this guy actually denied the fact that there's terrorists in this country. The same thing as DHS secretary is doing.
Kill 3.
Sorry about that, folks. Here we go.
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed 3 American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
That says everything you need to know. That face right there. There's no data to support it. Joe Biden goes, oh, well, the Border Patrol Union, they actually endorsed me. They actually approve of what I'm doing. And so the Border Patrol Union comes out and says, that's not true. We don't like Joe. We don't want any part of being with Joe. Like immediately they came out with a tweet. And so he's rumbling and just being incoherent about his failure to secure the border. And I love that about Trump, that Trump kept bringing back the immigration crisis, because you know that the CNN moderators aren't going to do that. They're not going to call out the failures of the Biden administration that we've been having to deal with for 3.5 years.
What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
That was such a great moment. That was such a great moment. I'm not really sure I even know what he said at the end of that statement, and I'm not sure he does either. It was such a great moment by Trump. Can we just go back to that, please? It was so good.
Total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
what I've done since I.
Oh, God. Oh, Trump was just phenomenal last night. I'm feeling good tonight, or today, rather. You guys feeling good? I see you guys in the live chat. If you haven't hit that like button, it does support us. Leave us a comment. Remember, the live chat doesn't transform into comments. Who do you think won last night? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think it was Trump? Do you think it was Biden? 33% of the country thinks Joe Biden won last night, you guys. 33%. So he's completely gone. He's completely gone. It's a new day. It's a great day. And we're going into the weekend. I'm just curious to see how they're going to spin this. How are they going to do this? So Joe Biden blames the economy failures on Donald Trump. We knew this was coming. A little bit of a longer segment. But, I mean, inflation was Donald Trump's fault, according to Joe Biden. Everything's Donald Trump's fault, remarkably. It's astonishing. The guy hasn't been around for 4 years. He's been in a courtroom because Joe Biden wants to sit there and use his justice system to go after his political opponents. But no, let's blame everything on Donald Trump. Orange bad, man bad.
President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out the position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of households where the kitchen tables, the things weren't able to be met during the month. It was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs.
You didn't create jobs, Joe. People just went back to work, and he keeps pushing this whole thing. He keeps pushing it. You notice it again, as I mentioned, it's all about, well, this is what I'm going to do my next 4 years. I'm going to bring down your grocery prices. Well, you hadn't done that in 3.5 years. What makes me believe that you are going to actually do it 4 years later? Well, I'm going to bring your gas prices down, but we're not going to drill domestically. We're actually going to sit there and remove the fossil fuel industry. It's such a remarkable thing. And I see you guys asking in the chat, well, who's the 34% that thinks Joe Biden did well? Guys, his poll numbers is still 40% of people approve Joe Biden, like in a holistic viewpoint. 40% of this country thinks that Joe Biden is doing well. They don't watch this stuff. And so last night, and we got a lot of clips here, the media meltdown and the Democrat Party's panic. I could say, as far as me doing the show, I've never seen a situation like this where the media have completely given up on Joe. And I think what it was is, now that we actually don't have anything edited, it's just straight streaming of Joe Biden fumbling, not knowing where he's at. You know, CNN saying it looks like Biden just had his funeral. It's not just panic, it's pain. Look at this.
No two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
Ben? That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
Dude, when that came out last night while we were streaming, it blew my mind because he was really one of the first people to come out and say, look, maybe we got to replace this guy. That's how bad Donald Trump beat down Joe Biden. Is he didn't just beat down Joe Biden. He beat the media. He beat the Democrat Party. They don't know what to do. They're losing their minds. Chris Wallace comes out and says this has been, quite frankly, a car accident in slow motion that we've seen over and over.
This has been, quite frankly, a car accident in slow motion that we've seen over and building and questioning it. And, you know, as has been pointed out, Joe Biden sought this debate at this remarkably early time because he knew he was losing and he needed to change the narrative. Yep. And he did change the narrative. He sunk his campaign tonight.
Dude. And he makes a great point. Joe Biden created this whole debate. All the rules, everything was set by Joe. Donald Trump was just like, yeah, whatever you want to do, I'll show up. That was it. And again, Donald Trump was doing rallies. Donald Trump was doing speaking engagements, like private speaking engagements. He was going to dinner parties the same day as the rally. This dude was traveling all over the place this entire last week. He didn't do barely any debate prep. I imagine the only debate prep Donald Trump did was, hey, give me some facts and figures that I can use. Give me some statistics. And he actually referenced it during the debate. He said, yeah, you know, my crew told me the numbers. I think it was about the climate change segment right before I walked on stage. So that's really it. Other than that, he did no debate prep. And this is what happens. Joe Biden needs a whole week of debate prep just to take on Donald Trump. Donald Trump's not the one running the country right now. And quite frankly, neither is Joe Biden, which makes you wonder who is running the country. There's no way in hell Joe's running the country. And we've been saying this for now 3.5 years. Who's pulling the strings? So you have CNN, Aaron Burnett. This was wild. On Joe Biden's debate performance, he goes through 6 days of preparation at Camp David. They know the rules. He practices with the mics. He knows every one of these questions is coming, and yet he couldn't fill the time. A lot of people are speculating that Joe Biden, based on this quote, had the questions ahead of time.
Goes through 6 days of preparation at Camp David.
More than that.
And they know the rules.
It was more than a week.
Okay, so more than a week. They know the rules. He practices with the mics. He knows every one of these questions is coming. And yet he couldn't fill the time. Now, I just want to, let's see what the White House is saying. Sources close to the White House are saying he had a cold, wasn't feeling well. I mean, as you would expect, that came out early on in the debate. But what accounts for someone with so much experience doing so much preparation and this being the outcome?
Honestly, I think the question answers itself. He wasn't capable of doing any better than he did.
Dude, you notice how CNN, they're trying their best to cover where they can. Oh, well, they came out early on in the debate and said he had a cold. Well, that early on came after the fumbling, the cringe moment. I think the greatest cringe moment we've seen of Joe Biden, other than him saying like trigonometric pressure, falling up a flight of stairs. I mean, there's been a lot of cringe moments, but as far as like a debate, that's when it came out when they're like, oh yeah, he can't do it. This guy's gone. Joe Biden's not with us. So that's when they came out like, oh, all of a sudden he has a cold. He has a sniffle. There's not many colds out there that impact your cognition level. So there is no question. This is not the night that the Biden campaign wanted nor needed. This comes from ABC.
Look, there is no question. This is not the night that the Biden campaign wanted or needed. They were going into this hoping that the president's performance would put to rest those remaining concerns about his age and his fitness for office. It is hard to see how what we just saw did that, how it put to bed those concerns. He had a rough start, as you noted. He was rambling. He struggled at times to collect his thoughts. There was that pause. Look, there is no question. This is not.
What's sad is the Democrats, this is what they needed. Let this sink in. That debate was what people needed to solidify the fact that Joe Biden's not with us. Amongst the hours of footage we have of Joe Biden rambling, getting lost, wandering off, fumbling through his words, fighting with his teleprompter, all those things, astonishing that this is what they needed. This was the proof they needed that we weren't lying. Isn't it remarkable that we're always called conspiracy theorists? We're always labeled all these things, but yet we always end up being right. And so you have a congressional Democrat here. Congressional Democrats are now openly telling CNN that they want to commit suicide after watching the Biden-Trump debate.
He said that when that happened, the entire room was just completely silent and in shock, and that this member's own reaction was that he wanted to jump off of a bridge. He said that when that happened, the entire room was just completely silent and in shock, and that this member's own reaction was that he wanted to jump off of a bridge.
Wow. Gosh. When I heard rumors in the room, this comes from Caleb of the Daily Wire, said that there was an audible gasp when Joe Biden fumbled through his words and got lost early on in the debate, and that some people actually needed to take a break and they walked out of the room because they just couldn't handle it. And you have Stephen Smith here saying, so do y'all finally want to stop arguing with me about Biden now? Have your fears now been confirmed? Michelle Obama at VP, somebody, please help. Biden's team wanted this. His staff, his loved ones. How could you put him out there like that? How could you? Yes. We've all been saying this, Stephen, on the right-hand side for years. Since 2018, 2019. I mean, his wife is the one that keeps putting him out there. And so you even have the Young Turks saying this.
And the whole time the split screen is killing Biden.
Yep.
Because he's got his mouth open, he looks confused, doesn't know where he is. He's lost his train of thought at least twice in like disastrous shape. Those are gonna be played 1 billion times in viral video after viral video. This is an epic disaster. I see people online saying, well, okay, that answer wasn't so bad. No, it doesn't. Any particular answer doesn't matter at all. This thing is over. He looks like he's barely surviving. I don't mean the debate, I mean life. And so there's no person that has a single brain cell left in their head who thinks that Joe Biden is the best candidate to take on Donald Trump. You would have to be even crazier than Donald Trump to think that. This thing is over.
You guys, this is not a Republican outlet. This is like there's Republicans, right? Independents, Democrats, the Young Turks, and this is what they're saying. This is like more damaging than what CNN's saying. They're further left than CNN.
Guarantee you this. I would bet show me a Democratic politician and I will bet them any amount of money that Joe Biden's going to lose this election if he's the candidate. It's a guaranteed loss. You're telling me this is the most important election of our lifetimes? You're telling me that democracy's on the line and you're gonna put on a guy who can't even talk, who can't even sit there and look normal. This thing's a bloodbath. He's gonna get annihilated. That is, okay, now the Democrats have to decide. Are they happy to lose? Are they willing to lose? Because this is a guaranteed loss.
Wow, man, that is, whoa. You're seeing real-time reactions from me because that is the Young Turks coming out saying that. But again, they're like blown away that, oh, this is what Democrats want to put forward. Hello? We were saying this in 2020. Don't put this guy forward. He's terrible. You don't want him as president. His brain's not working. And we're now we have to listen to this, you guys. It's like when you tell somebody not to do something and that this is going to be the outcome or the result of whatever they're about to do, and you're basically giving them warning signs. And then when they do the stupid thing, you got to hear them bitch and complain about the very thing that you told them that was going to happen, right? It's like when you give somebody advice about some guy or gal that they're dating. Yeah, you probably shouldn't date this person. There's a lot of red flags. Here's 100 red flags that I see. This is what's going to happen. This is where it's going to go. And they go, oh, okay. and then they go and date the person, and then the list of the red flags that you gave them are all coming out, and then you got to hear them complain and cry on your shoulder, hearing about all the things that you told them would happen. And this is what's going on with the Democrat Party right now. We explained all those things, and now we got to hear them cry about all the things we told them was going to happen. So here you have, more reporters just completely baffled and talking about how Biden has to step down.
What are officials who hold office in the Democratic Party saying tonight about President Biden's performance?
There are at least some House Democrats who were gathered tonight watching this together, talking to the White House about having him step down. That's how bad it was in their view.
I'm still blown away that that's the conversation, though. That they're asking him to step down. Can you imagine the chaos that's going on behind the scenes here? Like today, right now, as we're live. Again, I see you. I see Star. I see Jeff. I see Danielle. I see his servant. I see Jeff again. I see I see Sweet Sunset. I see y'all in the live chat. If you're not with us in the live chat, come join us. Come hang out. We're all patriots. We're having a good ass time here. We're having a great time. Dude, they're talking about removing this guy from office, man. Wow. Here's another one. I told you, we got endless clips today. We don't have articles. We just got clips of the media just losing it. Former senator, quote, "My job now is to really be honest." Were you not honest before is the question. Joe Biden had one thing he had to accomplish, and that was to reassure America that he was up to the job at his age. Well, he fell short. That's for damn sure.
Now, the hard and heartbreaking part. I have been a surrogate for some presidential candidates in my time. I know what the job is after a debate of a surrogate. I've never wanted to be a surrogate more than I do right now. Because when you're a surrogate, you have to focus on the positives. But I have said very clearly and very plainly on this network, and my job now is to be really honest. Joe Biden had one thing he had to do tonight, and he didn't do it. He had one thing he had to accomplish, and that was reassure America that he was up to the job at his age. And he failed at that tonight. Now, does that mean that my phone blowing up with senators and campaign operatives and donors, big donors from all over the country, does that mean that Joe Biden is not going to be the candidate? I don't know that. I think we'll know a lot more in a few weeks, how this plays out,
Wow. We have Sunset, and I want to highlight this. All according to their plan. There is some swirlings of rumors, is that what we say? That this was a part of the Democrat Party's plan, was to chauffeur this guy out on a debate stage early on. Because look, we're like, still 3-4 months out from election. And that they knew he was going to fail. They knew that he was going to fall flat on his face. And this was going to give them reasons to sit there and use the media to now work together to get this guy out of office. Because there's not an outlet out there that I'm aware of. I don't think there's a single one that says this was a great job by Joe Biden, that Joe Biden should stay in office. I mean, everybody's saying this guy should be removed. Everybody's saying that this guy should not be the next president of the United States. I mean, it is bad. You guys, even Morning Joe sat there and said in 2024, failure is not an option. We know Joe Biden can govern, but can he run for president in 2024? He's an idiot. Joe, he's an idiot.
Start by saying, without any apologies, that I love Joe Biden and Jill, and I will gladly debate anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere over the issue of whether Joe Biden has been the most effective president in passing bipartisan legislation, in expanding NATO, in responding to the rising threat coming from China, by flexing America's strength around China, by having the strongest economy in the world, bar none, the strongest economy actually relative to the rest of the world in 50, 60, 70 years, the strongest dollar in half a century, the strongest military relative to the rest of the world, I would argue, and many others would argue, since 1945. I think his presidency has been an unqualified success.
Dude's like giving a eulogy. Like he's standing up there as if Joe Biden died. Hey, this guy was great, saying all these nice things that just aren't true. Yeah, you know, he really brightened up the room when he walked in, you know, kind of smelled like doo-doo a little bit, but we're not sure if that was him. Like, it's just unbelievable. The guy was great, best president that's ever existed, but I don't know if he just has it in him anymore. Look at him over there. You doddering old fool, Joe, you poor guy. Jeez, can you hear me, Joe? You awake?
If, however, you believe, as do I, and as do so many people who watch this program and who fear just how dark of a place a second Donald Trump term will take America, then I think it's critical that we ask the same questions about this man I love, respect, and whose public service in saving this country from Donald Trump over the last 3.5 years I honor and always will. I think we have to ask the same questions of him that we have asked of Donald Trump since.
I can't take this guy anymore, dude. Dude, I think he's having a crisis of his own. So what's astonishing is just watch the comparison between what we just saw versus what Joe Scarborough was just saying like the other day.
But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
This is a battle for the future of American democracy. And now is a good time. In June, thank God, in June, and not October, in June, this is the last chance for Democrats to decide whether this man we've known and loved for a very long time is up to the task.
But I understand.
It's just the reversal is really astonishing stuff here. And our Wonder Woman, who is just on top of everything last night, Jackie Heinrich, she's phenomenal. A text with Democrat sources this morning, the race is over. We are effed. Responding to my question of whether the campaign will kill the second debate, and this is a lot of us that had these questions. Pat hit me up on X about this question as well, about whether they would kill the second debate. One Dem source says, God, I don't know. Another said we should. I've been asking whether any heads will roll in Biden's inner circle. The resounding answer is no, which is depressing to many of them. Sources agreed with my assessment that Biden was overproduced, struggling to reach the prefabricated lines that his aides tried to drill into his memory for over 7 days, you guys, of practice. Nobody seems to have an idea of what the remedy is as of now. There is no remedy. He's gone. He's not with us. There is no remedy. I don't think, and this is the answer that I gave Pat on X. If you don't follow me on Twitter, head over to Twitter. Give me a nice follow. Would really love for you to check it out. I don't think for multiple reasons there should be another debate. One, Donald Trump destroyed him. I mean, this is the debate of Donald Trump's lifetime. This is one of the best debates. I'm not saying intellectually, but in terms of a president just destroying another president. Donald Trump can only hurt himself at this point. And what I mean by that is Joe Biden, the bar was already set low. The dude just had to show up and talk. That was it. That was literally it. Just don't ramble, Joe. Don't get lost. Just talk. Don't do anything crazy. He couldn't meet that bar that was already low. Think about that. It was so low that people are blown away going, holy crap. I mean, if you didn't meet that, like we're done. We're cooked. We're finished. So with that being said, the bar is like, as long as the next debate, as long as Joe Biden comes out and just stands there, he won. So Donald Trump can only hurt himself by saying something stupid, attacking Joe, maybe talking about January 6th or election fraud again that American people predominantly don't like. It can only hurt Donald Trump actually at this point. So that's why I don't think there should be another debate. Donald Trump needs to end it there. Joe Biden needs to end it there. No debates. We go into the election with what we got. So the big news too yesterday was this clip here. There's a reason why people didn't want the media in the room. They didn't want people with cell phones. Somebody grabbed this clip. You guys, this is Joe Biden. I know it's blurry, but it was taken with a phone. Joe Biden was escorted off the stage, being handheld by the wrist and the arm by his wife to just get down a couple stairs. Now, what you're going to see as well is I think this might be a production assistant or an executive or some sort of producer or grip person going over to assist him as well to go down a couple stairs. Watch this.
At the first word on what those voters might make.
Look at that. He can't get down the stairs. Look at that. Oh. Oh. Wow. And she's helping him. Completely helping a president. This is hard to watch, you guys. Look at that. Wow, he's taking one step at a time. And I'm not poking fun at the guy. You guys, look, for elderly people, that's what you do. You really grab their arm. You make sure that they don't fall. Man. And she's putting her husband through that, dude. That's crazy. We got to pick. This is what you guys, this is what the stairs looks like. This is the stairs. I think we did freeze a little bit here. Let's see if we come back. Did we freeze? Are we back yet? Uh-oh. Let's do this. Let's see if it comes back now. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh. Wow. Your face is weird. So it's just my camera, I think. Let me do this. Hold on. Can you guys camera hub quit. Let's see. Here we go. I think we're back. Are we back? Are we good? Are we good? Sounds good. Just in pure shock. Frozen McConnell. I think we're back. I think we're okay now. I think we're good. All right, yeah, we're good. We're back. Damn you, Brian. McConnell frozen. All right, hey, we're back. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, so let's we're a one-man show. At least you guys know we're live. At least you know it's real. We don't have a production company. We don't have producers. It's literally just me. If something goes wrong, I'm the one that has to figure it out while trying to keep the entertainment going. Thank you for sticking around with us, folks. We're not done yet. Oh, no. We're not done. So this is what the stage looked like. I think this is where we went frozen. You guys, that is lightweight steps right there. And Joe Biden needed help getting down. So, again, were we able to see the clip? Do we need to play the clip again of Joe Biden?
Voters might make of it from our political.
I don't know if you guys saw that because we did get frozen like McConnell. Man, it's tough to watch this president go downstairs like that, dude. I mean, he couldn't even go upstairs. And so just like that, CNN started fact checking this guy.
Some of them. He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he'd supported, never endorsed him himself.
CNN is just going off on Joe. Hey, this guy's not with us. We might as well, be done with him. I mean, hey guys, I mean, let me just show you what I got queued up here for you. Cause, we got endless, look at this. We got endless clips still. It just is never ending clips. Here's the vice president saying, oh, well, we started off slow. Not a big deal.
Listen, first of all, what we saw tonight is the president making a very clear contrast with Donald Trump on all of the issues that matter to the American people. Yes, there was a slow start, but it was a strong finish. And what became very clear through the course of the night is that Joe Biden is fighting on behalf of the American people, on substance, on policy, on performance. Joe Biden is extraordinarily strong. And
I'm sorry,
that
on
cannot
substance
be
and
debated.
policy and performance tonight, I mean, the president's performance tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters.
Listen, first of all, what we saw tonight.
Dude. You guys, I had to just pull clips for you. I mean, we're going on an hour 15, easily another 50 to 100 clips. It's really endless. Just the same thing. Joe Biden wasn't with us. Joe Biden's gone. We got to replace Joe. Democrat Party scrambling. It was the worst debate they've ever seen. 33% of people still want this guy back in office. So that's the news of the day. We brought you the highlights. The media is melting down. The question that, and the awareness that we need to see here is, what is going to happen today? How is the Democrat Party going to release some news headline that takes the focus away from this debate, takes the focus away from Joe Biden and him just fumbling through his words? What event is going to happen globally or domestically that's going to shift the American people and their eyes and their ears and their minds away from this? That's what we need to be on the lookout for here. I think something big is going to happen, probably negative, and God forbid that does, and I hope that I'm wrong. But to go into the weekend like this, where this is what everybody's talking about, where normally Thursday's the end of the news cycle, Friday, nobody, it's kind of the news dump where you just dump everything out there and kind of see what happens. I haven't seen anything yet, so we'll see what happens over the weekend. I'm hoping there's a White House press briefing next week, because that's going to be a slaughter fest for Karine Jean-Pierre. And wow, hell of a debate by Donald J. Trump. Vote Trump 2024, folks. I would love your support in any way, shape, or form. If you really want to support us, just watching our videos all the way through, hitting that like and subscribe button, making sure the bell notification icon's turned on. Remember, YouTube, we did a video, YouTube saying your bell notification icon's not turned on, so that's why our viewership isn't that great. Or and other people are saying our show's not that good. I think we have a damn pretty good show here, folks. Let me be honest with you. I think we show you the news. We give you real-time reactions. We don't have any fluff. We're not beholden to anybody. I think we bring you the real stuff, and a lot of times we're ahead of whoever else is bringing the news out there. So always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. You're true American patriots. Again, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. Join our membership if you'd be so kindly to take care of us here. You keep the lights on for us. And with that being said, folks, have a great weekend. We'll be back here tomorrow for another edition of the Bald Brad Show. Take care, folks.